Mastercard is being upgraded to these ISO assets. This is major, major news.
Hey, my friend, whether you're a day trader or huddler, I've got a game changer for you. BTCC Exchange, founded in 2011, is the world's longest running crypto platform with zero hacks and licenses in many countries. No KYC or VPN needed, and signing up is fast. For whales or pro traders, it's a dream. Top 5 on CoinMarketCap, unmatched liquidity, low fees, but leverage and copy trading is risky, so only use what you can afford to lose, or seriously don't do it at all. I launched this channel to share crucial crypto insights, not to see you make reckless moves and lose your hard-earned money. BTCC has over 300 crypto available, including XRP, Quant, XLM, and hbar. Use my referral link on the screen, in the description, or in the pinned comment for up to $10,000 USDT rewards, up to 50% off fees, and VIP perks. Never keep all your crypto on exchanges. Use reputable hardware wallets. Links below. Now let's get back to the video.
Consider smashing that like. We understand we have to earn it and earn your subscription. I think we will on this one. And a disclaimer, on both channels, there's a brand new feature that if you're watching on Maximus Crypto, that you can subscribe right to Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights, and also vice versa. So let's jump right into the material. And again, if you really love it, hit the bell notification. What do we have? Well, for one, big shout out once again to our brother in space, Smoke, always doing it big. And he points out this. Let's start off with Ripple. And we'll talk about some of the other ones like Stellar, Hedera, and even Quant. As we see here, this is so good. Mastercard being upgraded to Ripple. Listen closely. Some of you guys may have seen this, maybe you haven't, but bottom line is what Watch Guru announced shortly after this. So this is a minute and a half, and then we'll come back here for some insights from Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights. Here we go.
There are many use cases now, very successful investment use cases, and I won't go through these in detail other than to say very briefly that there are good reasons why a lot of value is being captured. So if you look at number one, as I already mentioned, we need infrastructure to allow for the digitalization of finance and commerce, and that's being created by companies with names like Anchorage and Fireblocks and Kraken and so on. And these are digital custodians or wallets or marketplaces, and we're investors in all of those, are ones that we show as examples here. In terms of monies and commodities and assets, the same thing is true. We're taking things like Swift or Visa or Mastercard, and we're upgrading them into digital equivalents, which have names like Ripple or Yellow Card, and we're digitalizing monies like the US dollar into things like Tether and Circle, and we're investor in Tether and Circle as well. At the commodity level, we can take gold, and you can buy and sell gold physically or through derivatives like ETFs. But we're now tokenizing gold, so you can buy and sell gold over digital wallets and digital infrastructure with things like Pax Gold. So we can do it with traditional commodities. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are new to the world commodities, and we were early investors in them as well. And then you can do it with any other asset. So we can actually take any asset, like the example here, a money market fund from BlackRock. We can tokenize that and make that money market fund called BIDL be available in digital infrastructure anywhere in the world, 24/7. And that's why BlackRock's so excited by the tokenization of other real-world assets.
All right, so before I kick it over to you, Jesse, something I want to point out for everybody that's watching this, on the lower area of the screen, it says, this was from June 11, 2024, I've shared this before, it says blockchain, co-investors, and it says it was confidential at the time. Now, real quick, Jesse, because I know you want to chime in, Watcher Guru pointed out 5 hours ago that Ripple partners with Mastercard to introduce RLUSD credit card settlements on the XRP ledger. By all means, take it away.
Hey guys, hope all is well. Can you imagine how long this has been planned? To me, like, they're making it public now, but can you imagine how long it's been planned that Mastercard is literally going to run on Ripple? Come on, come on, all the money. So this video that you just showed is explaining like everything. We can tokenize money markets and this and that. Like, imagine the volume that XRP is going to handle because you're tokenizing everything. This is what I said many times: money market, stocks, bonds, derivatives, debt instruments, and then sometimes you will pool a bunch of different tokens together, and so what do you call that? I can't even think of the word right now, but anyways, like, everything's being tokenized. So this, when you want to settle from one type of asset to the other, you need XRP for settlement, for liquidity. And it's crazy the amount of volume that's going to go through this internet of value, because they're tokenizing everything. Everything's going on the blockchain, including technically your ID as well. I mean, it's unreal. Like, it's unbelievable. So I can't imagine where this is going to be in 10, 15 years from now. Because when the Internet of Information started, the World Wide Web 30 years ago, nobody had a clue. Where like 26 years ago is when it kind of started getting a full adoption, 1999. Nobody had a clue what it was going to look like. Nobody had a clue that you're going to be able to order an Uber, literally pick you up at the door, drop you off exactly where you're going, and you're going to literally have a Google map, and this lady's going to talk to you in your car. Please turn right. Please turn left. In 500 meters, turn right. Like, nobody had a clue. Amazon ordering stuff, it's delivered at your door the next day. It's insane. Nobody had a clue that everything was going on the internet. You can't do anything without touching the internet now. Even when you registered your car, your vehicle, like your license, like paying your bill, like everything. everything touches the internet. Everything's on the internet, and they didn't expect that. So this is why, like in 10 years from now, man, 15 years from now, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. With AI, man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up indeed. We're going to share some more key insights. This is really, really good. So what you saw there obviously was Ripple, Mastercard, and so on. All right, what about the quant side of things? Great question, right? Well, let's pull that up as well. And this is from a source that we shared before. This is literally from gilbertverdian.com/CV. I've shared this numerous times. There's a whole new wave of people where this is maybe the first time you've ever seen anything like this. And what you see basically here is very, very important, because Gilbert Verdian, in his work history, he was with Vocalink/Mastercard from 2016 to 2018 as its Chief Information Security Officer. So I definitely wanted to point that out. And on top of that, we're going to jump over to this. And this is another one. This is from Stellar. Okay. And now think about it. Stellar posted this roughly a little over a year ago. Now you fast forward to today with Ripple Swell and so on. What do you see? Mastercard. So, but again, Stellar established this last year. So, honorable mention obviously to Stellar, because they pointed out in Meridian 2024 in London, England, they announced a new partnership with Mastercard at the time to integrate the company's crypto credential solution, of course, with Stellar Network. So again, got to give Stellar the flowers on that one. And on top of that, what about Hedera? Hedera also posted back on April 3rd, 2024, that they were excited to announce that Hedera had become a member of Australia's leading blockchain industry body, which is called Blockchain AUS, as you see right here. And basically speaking, you also see joining the Algorand Foundation. So honorable shout out to Algorand. And of course, you see the other ones here, Binance, Mastercard, and other leading institutions at the forefront of Web3. Now watch this. Some people aren't aware of this. Even on basic Google search, is Blockchain Australia part of ISO TC 307? And it's not like, oh, maybe, possibly. No, immediately says yes. Standards Australia is a key, yes, a key participant. ISO TC 307 Blockchain Distributed Ledger Technologies. If you're new, that's Quant Network Standard. And if you're also new, ISO stands for International Standards Organization. It's very, very important. So not only does it contribute to it, but it's also managing the committee's secretariat. The technical committee was established after an Australian proposal in 2016 to develop the international standards for blockchain technology. Here's another one. This comes from literally Standards Australia, just in case you guys were wondering about this. And more importantly, it says back in September 2016, proposal was approved, and Australia was selected to manage the secretariat of ISO TC 307. Again, Quant Network Standard, excuse me. That standard meets twice a year, and they progressed in numerous things, but separate study groups were established to focus on use cases and interoperability, and additional research was underway on supply chain and trade facilitation, security evaluation of consensus models, and data flow. Prior to that, ISO TC 307 Standards Australia established the Mirror Committee IT 041 and had the whole thing with blockchain distributed ledger technologies to provide Australia a voice to inform their vote at the ISO level. So that's absolutely major. Glad to share that. The other area I want to jump into before Jesse chimes in is just a simple Google search. I basically asked Google, I said, which blockchain DLT companies are partnered with MasterCard outside basically what we just showed you? And this is very important. So for one, without even a hesitation, Grok points out that you have, of course, Circle, and of course you have Ripple. And for what? Stablecoin payment settlement partnerships. On the part with Ripple, it said new pilot announced November 2025, as we just showed you, with WebBank, that part we didn't show you, and Gemini to settle RLUSD stablecoin credit card transactions with Gemini XRP credit card, for example, on the XRP ledger, enabling real-time compliant blockchain settlements for fiat payments. So that's important. This other area I want to get down into is Zero Hash. You'll see a collaboration with myself and Rue Black on that. And it's again the Zebek connection with Zero Hash. That's major. Zebek's your thing. You don't want to miss that outline. Moving further along, I do want to highlight Crypto.com. CRO is my third top performer last bull market 2021. You do have their exchange with wallet integrations. And like it says, long-standing partnership for stablecoin crypto payments across MasterCard's network. So definitely wanted to point that out. Again, back to Gemini, they highlight them. And then, of course, what about DLT infrastructure interoperability? They do highlight Chainlink. They do highlight R3. Both myself and Jesse have covered R3 more than enough times. They do highlight JP Morgan, but specifically they do mention Hedera. Look what it says here. Explore complementary DLT solution for supply chain and provenance. MasterCard's provenance tool aligns with Hedera's hash graph for enterprise use cases. And last but not least, Stellar. Partnership via MasterCard crypto credential for secure remittances, peer-to-peer transfers with fraud prevention on the Stellar network. And of course, that's big. And I guess even honorable mention to Everledger. Some of you guys have pointed them out in the community. Before we give them the final connector, your thoughts on some of this so far, Jesse? I think you got a lot you want to share. Go for it.
Yeah, so yeah, nice. So right there you saw Stellar. The last thing you read there, it said Stellar, and it said it was for remittances and peer-to-peer. Because I've always said, like, listen, Stellar's not going anywhere. I'm fully aware that, Stellar plays a role in cross-border. It's, it's big. Stellar is big. But I've always said that Stellar is more focused on peer-to-peer and small, medium enterprises and peer-to-peer, right? So while the majority of the CBDCs are being built on Ripple, because Ripple's got a private CBDC platform, but you see, and earlier you also saw actually on this document, sorry, on the Grok 3 here, it also said how MetaMask was going to use Mastercard as well. But when they're using Mastercard, again, on the back end, they're going to be using XRP. Because that's the instant settlement. You can't get the instant settlement liquidity and so on and so forth without XRP or Stellar. So, I mean, just Mastercard alone for Stellar and XRP. Mastercard is huge. I think it's like what, the second or third biggest payment processor in the world or something like that. I mean, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. And because I've always said, right, I see XLM as being a bit smaller than Ripple. This is complete guesstimate. It's just an opinion, but I kind of see maybe Stellar handling 10 to 20% of this new internet value, while XRP maybe 80%. But I know people that have researched XLM like crazy are probably thinking, hey Jesse, it's bigger, way bigger than you think, and maybe it is. But I just see Ripple as being bigger for sure, in my opinion, definitely. But again, it's just my opinion. I did spend a way more research on XRP than I did on Stellar. But yeah, that's why I always say, like, Stellar is getting a piece of the pie. It is getting a piece of the pie. And but yeah, and you see this right here. They're both partnered with Mastercard, right? So great find. Yeah, all the money, that doesn't change. Yeah, we can do these deep dives till we turn blue. It's always going to be all the money. Nothing's going to ever change.
So, everybody, I just found this basically, and again, this is not FUD. Why would I FUD XLM? That's my number 2 on my top 10. I have nothing but love and respect for Stellar with XLM especially, but with what Jesse just mentioned, do his statements hold weight? This is from Smoke. Again, this is not FUD. He's just pointing out reality, okay? So Smoke did share this literally not that long ago, and he pointed out specifically Ripple does hold clear advantage over Stellar, Algorand, and Swift in blockchain payments. Smoke also points out that Ripple's advantage comes from being the only platform that unites real-time settlements, digital asset custody, and stablecoin liquidity in one system. Checkmark. Goes on to also mention, while Stellar, Algorand, and Swift serve specific functions, Ripple delivers a full infrastructure designed for banks and enterprises that prioritize compliance and scale. He says this is key, and this is documented below. So Jesse's statements, is he just pulling out of thin air, or does Smoke literally back up what he's saying, unofficially speaking? I think the answer is yes. So for one, this comes from PM Insights, and they point out the competitive edge. Says the blockchain payment sector stratifies into point solutions and integrates platforms such as Ripple. And Ripple leads the latter category with its unified infrastructure for real-time settlements, digital asset custody, and stablecoin liquidity, appealing to banks and enterprises seeking compliance-first tooling. Stellar and Swift occupy specialized niches in remittances and legacy messaging. I know that the newer generation says niche. I'm old school. It's all about niches. I'm old school. It's all about the pound sign, not about the the hashtag. Anyway, remittances and legacy messaging, respectively. While IBM blockchain and Algorand cater to enterprises via tokenization and smart contracts, but lack payment-specific optimization. Again, back to Jesse's research, because do they capture value as much as what Ripple would do? Again, they are capturing value, but who would lead the charge in that? And I do. That's where, this is where I do agree with Jesse, and why we have XRP and QNT tied for number ones. Ripple's dominance in institutional adoption stems from its dual focus on technical scalability and regulatory alignment, positioning it uniquely to serve evolving demands for programmable finance. Now, we're not done there. Hold on a second, Jesse. There's another part, and this part's good to also reference. So let's blow this up. And you do see here from the reference, it mentions on the left side, all-in-one platform, point solution. And you do see, for example, I imagine that's IBM with their technology. So IBM blockchain, we know about IBM WorldWire. We also know about, IBM does so many things, right? Not just with Ripple, but they have obviously, Stellar. They also have Stronghold. Heck, they have BSV. They have Casper. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But anyway, I would say you do see here on the all-in-one platform, that's quite a big jump compared to Algorand, Stellar, and some of these other things you see here. So again, if anything, have you chime in on this one as well, Jesse?
Yeah, so that's why I try to be respectful, because I don't want people to think that I'm saying, Stellar's not worth much and it's not going to get much, but, a volume, so on. I try to be respectful because I know, like, I respect Stellar. But to me, I kind of see Stellar, again, it's total guess, but I'm thinking Stellar maybe 10, 20% of the volume at max. And again, this is total guesstimate. I might be wrong here, right? But the fact that Ripple has a private platform, a private CBDC platform, and this is right on their website. You can see this on the Ripple website. You can hear the literally the talks from the what's his name, James Wallace, head of central bank engagement at Ripple, describing the CBDC platform that Ripple has. So it's a carbon copy clone of the XRP public XRP ledger. So it's a private version of the public XRP ledger. So central banks all over the world can build their CBDCs on a carbon copy clone of the XRP ledger. And when they want to settle between central banks to central banks, between nation to nation, they're going to use the public XRP ledger. So, when we're talking central banks, people have to understand that the central bank is literally the payment system for the nation. So the Bank of England, for example, does more volume in one day than Bitcoin does in a whole year. That's just the Bank of England. We know they've been partnered with Ripple since 2016. This was made public. Brad Garlinghouse, 2016 or 2018, sorry. He said, Bank of England is a paying customer. And we know that FedNow in the US is literally built on Ripple. FedNow runs on Ripple. I did a deep dive on that. I mean, that's no question. So if you look just the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve, which are two of the biggest central banks in the world, are literally building their CBDCs on Ripple. And, we see Brad Garlinghouse sitting with a bunch of central bankers, the IMF, the head of the BIS, which is a central bank for all central banks. He's the only one sitting there with all the central bankers. So, again, 98% of central banks are building their CBDCs. 95%, I'll say, to be conservative, are building CBDCs on Ripple. And what else I want to add? If you go on the Atlantic Council website, Atlantic Council, it's a think tank for central bankers. You'll see that 99% of central banks right now are building CBDCs. You can see there's a bunch, there's let's say 5 or 6 of them launch, and it shows you, exactly at what stage they're at. And it's 99% of central banks in the world right now are building CBDCs, and there's approximately 170 to 180 central banks in the world. So that's why, to me, that's the big volume. That nothing compares to this volume, right? And the fact that Ripple is the only blockchain company that has the XRP ledger, and Ripple is the only company that I'm aware of that has a CBDC platform where central banks can launch CBDCs very, very easily. It's unreal. I would encourage people to listen. I think if you Google search James Wallace Thinking Crypto interview, I have it on one of my YouTube videos, but God knows where it is, which videos. I've shown that a few times. James Wallace describes how easy it is for central banks to literally launch CBDCs on Ripple, and how easy it is for commercial banks to literally then issue stable coins that are backed by the central bank money. So anyways, little rant there, but that's why, to me, I see Ripple's volume bigger, way bigger than Stellar. That's why I'm thinking that way. But again, might be wrong, but to me, I don't think I am.
Fair enough. Also, disclaimer, I just want to point this out. Myself, Rue Black, we've done some other videos, because Jesse did mention FedNow. There is obviously some things that are key for FedNow with Stellar. Yep. We've done those deep dives in the past. We also done the ones for Hedera. We even done some other ones you guys know about, obviously Metallicus and so on with FedNow, and I think all those things are definitely worth pointing out as well. We want to jump more into this as well, and let's pull this up. This is the next key connector. I think it's definitely worth pointing out. So for one, let's jump into a little bit more of all this and why it matters to you. Ripple with Mastercard, once again, pounding home this whole thing with Mastercard. So for one, you see here, again, the institutions, the presentations, and so on. This is not just, old Max and Jesse just saying some stuff verbatim. I mean, these are people at real presentations looking at this for themselves. And as you see, look what it mentions here. Jesse just mentioned CBDCs, did he not? Domestic CBDCs. And look what it mentions. Learning by doing is critical to digital dollar development, Visa executive says. And you see here, and right next to Visa, ironically, Mastercard partners with Ripple, and you also see Mastercard with Consensus. That's very important to share that.
Can you scroll up, Max?
Yeah.
Way up. Zoom it out a bit. See again. So you showed CBDCs, but here again it says Mastercard is committed to making CBDCs as easy to use as money. So yeah, it's exactly what I was saying, right?
Exactly what you're saying. That's why I pull it up. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it just pounds home what Jesse was just saying. So, I mean, again, these are things that we do. We like to complement each other with the research and so on. So, I couldn't elaborate any more further, especially that specifically, excuse me. The other area I wanted to jump into is this last piece of the puzzle. Well, let's actually come back into the frame for a brief moment. So this last thing is something that I've gone ahead and chopped up. I don't know if Jesse has ever seen this before. I have shared a little bit of this even in intros. You guys probably saw this as an intro on this video. I'm just going to take a moment to prime this and get it ready. This is also very, very big and worth sharing. So let's simply pull this up. This is actually first going to start from Swift, and you may be wondering why even point that out. Well, here is why. Let's just get that primed and ready to go. RSN, as in the Regulated Settlement Network. Swift, smoking gun for interoperability and, quote, agnostic API. Is this the Quant side of things? Could very well be. Listen to this. We'll come right back.
Event is closed to the media and is only open to market participants.
Hi, everybody. Jack Puderoyan at Swift, focused on our digital assets and digital currencies. Like the comments from others, we at Swift are excited to participate in the continued industry collaboration and explore the multi-asset use cases for shared ledger technology. In addition to transactions taking place within the RSN, equally as a group, we felt it important to simulate transactions between the RSN and other third-party networks, or simply put, adding interoperability to the scope of the POC. While the theoretical benefits of having all parties and assets on a common ledger are substantial, in practice, we can also recognize that the reality of achieving this scenario is far more complex. And the group's working assumption is that there will continue to be a multitude of separate networks that will need to interoperate across the world. So by including interoperability in the POC scope, we note 3 key objectives. The first is to demonstrate the ability for the RSN to connect to both new and traditional financial networks, and thereby avoiding the creation of a new, larger digital island. Second is the ability to test and compare intra-network transactions, for example, entirely within the RSN with asset and cash on the same ledger, and similar cross-network transactions to enable a form of A/B testing. And the third is to demonstrate the potential value of the RSN as a settlement venue for other networks to have final settlement of transactions in central bank money, which then brings us to the approach that we're taking. So as we know, there are different approaches and models to interoperability. For the scope of the regulated settlement network POC, we've elected to primarily leverage a network interlinking prototype that has been developed by Swift. So in simple terms, that combines a lightweight interface component referred to here in the materials as the Swift connector, along with orchestration capabilities from a simulated version of Swift's transaction manager platform to orchestrate the cross-network transactions. What this will enable is a secure, standardized, and scalable means of interlinking different types of networks. It remains technology and network type agnostic. It'll leverage the ISO 20022 standard that the industry has been working towards. And through local configuration by respective network operators, it'll mitigate any sort of interdependencies that people have on other network design decisions. It's worth noting that this prototype has also recently been tested with over 35 central banks, commercial banks, and financial market infrastructures in separate industry experimentation led by Swift. And finally, in addition to the Swift interlinking solution, throughout the POC, the group may explore additional integration options to demonstrate the flexibility of the RSN and to also be able to compare multiple types of options side by side. For example, we could envision direct connectivity to the RSN through API solution. This leads us to the interoperability use cases that we'll focus on in the scope of this POC.
There you have it. I saw you grinning something fierce on that.
Oh my God. This video is going to be 2 hours if you don't cut me off. I mean, come on. For the people that have watched my videos, you know I've proven clearly that the regulated settlement network, the regulated liability network, and I do apologize, guys, if you've watched all my videos, but just for those that are watching our videos for the very first time, right? Because statistics show that about 80% of the people that land on YouTube video have never watched that channel before. So I just want you guys to know that in my videos, I've proven that the regulated settlement network, the regulated liability network, and the unified ledger, the shared ledger, the Finternet, and the regulated internet of value, because the regulated settlement network, the regulated liability network used to be called the regulated internet of value. And we know that Ripple is the internet of value. But I prove in my videos, do a big deep dive showing that all of these 6 terminologies are all the XRP ledger. Right. So when he's talking about the regulated settlement network here, this is the XRP ledger. And he talks about Swift. And I've done 3 deep dives clearly showing, well, I had to do 3 deep dives, and I probably still could have done like 20 of them with all the proof showing that Swift uses the XRP ledger. Okay. So he's talking about Ripple here. This is Ripple. This is the XRP ledger, my friends. Okay. So he talked about, let's see here, regulated settlement network, all assets and parties on a common platform. Now, just to give you an idea, guys, Gilbert Verdian of Quant said when he was talking about the regulated liability network, which used to be called the regulated internet of value. So for the UK, they call it the regulated liability network. For the US, they call it the regulated settlement network. Okay. It's connected to FedNow. So Gilbert Verdian, when he was talking about the regulated liability network, he said, we also partnered with R3 that is bringing in the shared ledger where all tokenized assets will reside. He's talking about the internet of value. He's not necessarily saying that only XRP is doing tokenization, but what he's talking about there is the internet of value, okay, where all tokenized assets will reside. Then Tony McLaughlin, that's always sitting on stage with Gilbert Verdian, he's with Citibank. He's the head technologist for Citibank. He admitted, and again, this is all in my videos. I show all of this, right? But I'm just giving you a small idea here. So Tony McLaughlin said that, he said, if you think about all the banks in the world, they all have databases. And he says, if you take all of the databases and you connect them onto a shared ledger, he said, essentially, that is what the regulated liability network is. So the shared ledger and the regulated liability network, including the regulated settlement network, it's all the same thing. There's other documents saying that this is coming from Deutsche Bank or whatever. I think it's the German central bank. I think they admit that the regulated liability network used to be called the regulated internet of value, and they also admit in that document that the BIS, which is the central banks for all central banks, when they talk about the regulated liability network, they call it the unified ledger. And then I show other videos of the BIS explaining how the unified ledger can replace SWIFT. He talks about how the unified ledger replaces the need for corresponding banking, which is technically what Ripple does, and the unified ledger replaces SWIFT. So this is the BIS saying that. And then in the documents, it also says that the regulated liability network could become a global RTGS. And we have documents showing how the Internet of Value, document coming from the Hyperledger Foundation, now called the Decentralized Trust, showing how XRP Ledger is the global RTGS. And again, it was saying the document showing that the unified ledger, or the regulated liability network, could become a global RTGS. So anyway, so guys, what you need to know is Swift is using the XRP Ledger for settlement, okay? And when they talk about the Swift GPI, this connects right into XRP. He talked about leveraging ISO 20022. Guys, you have to understand that Stellar and Ripple, I was saying Ripple, but I guess Stellar is also on the ISO governance body, but it's Ripple and Stellar are the only blockchain company on the governance body for the ISO 20022. I thought it was only Ripple, but somebody said in the YouTube comments, in my comments on my channel, saying that Stellar is also on the governance body, which would make sense. So, so the ISO 20022 is a standard, my friend. It's literally the Swift standard for the messaging for cross-border. It's all about enhancing the cross-border payments. So it's all about cross-border. And you see Stellar and Ripple being the only company on the governance body for what is a Swift standard. And this is what I said on the Paul Barron show the other day. I said, guys, people have to understand. Think about that. You're supposed to act as if Ripple's your competitor, but literally they're the only ones, along with Stellar, sitting on the governance body, literally steering the ISO 20022 standard, which is a Swift standard. Come on, guys. Come on. And then the ISO 20022 also started in 2004. The same year, we see Ripple being created because we see emails coming from Ryan Fugger when he was at Ripple, literally sending emails in 2004 talking about Ripple. The same year the ISO 20022 standard was started, because you need the ISO 20022 standard in order for the success for Stellar and Ripple to be successful. So anyways, a little rant there. Of course, I'm always ranting, but I mean, also it says that the regulated settlement network is a settlement venue. Oh, you don't say. And then it says developed by Swift with a connector and so on. So guys, this is XRP, okay? Don't get it twisted. If you've been deceived with all the Linea and Ethereum FUD, all this BS, Linea is going to do settlement, they're going to take over Ripple, complete BS. Go on my website. Oh, and guys, before I forget, I don't know if Max said that at the beginning. If you're watching on this channel, if you're watching this video on my channel, you can subscribe to me and Max directly from my channel. You want to subscribe to Max, you can go with the subscribe button. You can literally subscribe to Max's channel directly off my channel. It's an amazing feature that YouTube has now. And the same thing, if you're watching this from Max's channel, you can subscribe to Max and myself right off the channel that you're watching it right now. You just click the subscribe button. So we appreciate the likes and the subscribe very much. But where the heck was I going with that? Where the heck was I going with that? But I don't know, man. But anyways, oh yeah. So guys, what I want to say is, if you any confusion about Swift, go on my YouTube channel and go in my playlist, my XRP playlist, and just look. I have 3 videos that I did about Swift. Okay, I promise if you watch those videos, you will never ever be confused about Swift again. You will know with 1,000,000,000% certainty that Swift uses XRP Ledger for settlement. And I could go on and on. I could talk 40 hours with that. But yeah, I ranted a lot. It's gonna be a long.
That's okay. Yeah, well, if anything, it's all right. We have methods to compensate for that without spilling the beans.
It needed to be said. It needed to be said.
Well, that's okay. So what also needs to be said is this. This is the final connector. All right. I hope you guys appreciate it. This is another video clipping I chopped up. This was originally a confidential webinar. So again, I hope you guys appreciate some of these things. Let's pull this up as well. Let's remove the other one. And basically, this time, it is from a particular gentleman from Mastercard from that same confidential webinar. So let's pull this up as well, and you will see firsthand what in the world these two guys are talking about and why we're so passionate about what we are covering. Here we go.
This communication between the RSN FMI and the Broadridge DLR or any other asset network is happening through the SWIFT connector. And using this sort of interoperability infrastructure, it is our goal and hope that we can demonstrate that the RSM FMI can operate with various other networks in securities, but also in cash. And I will hand it over to Jonathan to talk about the second use case where cash networks might exist. So Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you, Arushi. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Donovan, part of Mastercard's digital asset and blockchain team. In addition to the multi-asset use cases that have been described earlier, we're keen to demonstrate the value that can be provided by RSN acting as a foundational settlement infrastructure for third-party platforms in the PVP scenario. In this model, the tokenized central bank money that resides on RSN can be used to safely and securely settle obligations that arise from a variety of activities occurring on platforms that are distinct and separate from RSN. This means that these third-party platforms would be able to utilize tokenized central bank money for settlement on a 24/7 basis, allowing participants to make use of the liquidity they have available on RSN to support additional use cases that bring value to their customers. The specific use cases that we are exploring are via two different third-party platforms that provide tokenized deposit capabilities. The first is Mastercard's multi-token network, MTN. This is a platform that provides a set of tools and standards to enable participants to transact in the digital asset space with the balance in their bank accounts. These capabilities enable application providers in verticals such as real estate, loan disbursement, and carbon credits to leverage the power of tokenized deposits. In this use case, we'll demonstrate how B2B transactions enabled in MTN can be settled directly on RSN 24/7 in central bank money. The second use case is with Tacit as a third-party platform provider and demonstrates how the value of a tokenized deposit on the Tacit platform can interoperate with the tokenized deposit petitions on the RSN ledger itself. Again, further demonstrating how two different types of payments can interact seamlessly. Both of these use cases will explore different ways in which they can securely interoperate with RSN. Firstly, via the Swift connector that Jack described earlier, and also via a direct connection to RSN. In summary, this demonstrates how RSN can act as a foundational layer that can underpin a huge amount of future innovation by becoming a substrate that other services can build upon, bringing additional capabilities and use cases into the financial ecosystem.
I saw you over there just grinning like you have no idea. Like, man, this is everything I've been talking about for the longest time. So by all means, take it away in closing, Jesse. Take it all the way.
Oh man, I mean, if people have watched even just 10% of my videos, this is exactly what I show. Okay, so they talk about literally the regulated settlement network connecting wholesale CBDCs. What did we show all the time? We showed the Hyperledger Foundation, which I was just talking about, document showing how they were going to build the Internet of Value, and you saw basically the XRP ledger via the Interledger protocol. The XRP ledger was the global RTGS, and it was connecting all of the central banks. And so it's saying literally the XRP ledger is the global RTGS, and with the Interledger protocol connecting all different central banks. And it was saying that the XRP ledger was the global RTGS, and it was also the global liquidity marketplace. What is the main product of Ripple? On-demand liquidity. That's the goal, on-demand liquidity, right? So he talked about real-time payments. So let's take a step back. Regulated settlement network contains wholesale CBDC. I just told you how Ripple has a CBDC platform, and from what I'm aware of, they're the only company that has a CBDC platform where central banks can launch CBDCs. It's talked about real-time payment 24/7. That's Ripple. I'm not saying that, again, Stellar's not going to be used as well, right? But it's this regulated settlement network is talking about wholesale CBDCs. That's Ripple. Real-time settlement, Ripple. Increased liquidity management, on-demand liquidity, Ripple. Foundational settlement infrastructure, Ripple. Direct connector. You saw a direct connector. They didn't say what it was, but he said it's a direct connector. So that's likely the Interledger protocol. Or it could also be Quant. But in this case, in this diagram, I'm leaning more on the Interledger protocol for this one, this example, right? Quant would lay on top of it, and Quant would literally allow the whole world to build multi-chain applications using literally the RSN for settlement. So, I mean, this whole document, the description of the RSN is XRP. It's RippleNet. It's XRP Ledger. It's unbelievable. But again, guys, if you're on my YouTube channel for the first time, you can go literally the first video when you land on my website, on my YouTube channel, sorry, the homepage, the first video on there, my main highlight video, that's where I show that the regulated liability network, settlement network, the Finternet, unified ledger, shared ledger, and the Finternet and the global RTGS, it's all the XRP Ledger. They're using different names, different terminologies every time so that we can't figure it out. So I was the first one actually to show this. This is why a lot of the Ripple community is only kind of finding that out now, that it's all the same thing. Many in the community were saying, like, I think this is connected to Ripple, or this must be using Ripple, or so on, but there's still some confusion. But I prove it with documents and words out of their own mouth that this is all the same. So I just showed that, just new, because I just showed it about 3 months ago. So not everybody's aware of this, but I prove 100% in that video. It's all the same. You definitely do not want to miss that video. Very, very important video to watch if you haven't watched it. Guys, that's it, man. I'm like, I'm going to make this video 40 hours if I say everything I think here.
Well, guys, there you guys have it. Jam-packed with tons of information, all receipts provided. And with that said, if you listen to the entire outline, simply type in this keyword into the comments, and that is receipts, because we basically showed you multiple receipts. And again, big shout outs to numerous people, Smoke as well, doing it big with the findings. Hey, we really appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and if anything, hit that like, smash the bell notification, all that good stuff, if you choose to do so. We also appreciate the regulars and so on. So saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. May the Lord Jesus bless you all. We truly mean that. We will see you. Yes, you, the guy driving down the road. Listen to us all the time. We appreciate you too. We'll see you on the next one. Over and out.
See you guys.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I have many friends that are earning every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you. And again, I'm not trying to have any of you guys use your hard-earned money to lose anything. You don't know what you're doing? Don't jump into this, but there is money to be made, and don't use your nest egg for leverage trading. Use a separate portfolio. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy. You don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you.